So welcome everybody. This is the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform weekly community call. This is the Tuesday 8 a.m. Pacific call where we always have Microsoft speakers. And this call always happens always on Tuesdays at 8 a.m. except on July and August timeframe. So just a reminder again, we will have this call, 2 more, and then we will be on a summer break. During July and August, when you click the AKMS join link within the invite, you will be redirected to a page which will remind you on the other calls which will be ongoing throughout the summer, and also when this call will be back. We will not send you cancellations because we can't, because you have downloaded the invite within your calendar directly, so we do not know to whom to send the cancellation on. So if you want, you can easily go within your calendar and delete those invites during July and August, or maybe you remember that we are on a vacation with this call during July and August. Now, and maybe one more thing to say, why all the way 2 months? Well, last year we started the call in mid-August, and then we got a reaction from many areas within the Northern Hemisphere saying that, well, wait a minute, why are you starting this in mid-August? Because it's still summertime. So wanted this time to be super clear. We'll be out within July and August on the Tuesday call, and we'll be then back on the 3rd of September. Now, today, we start with recapping all of the assets and things which are available, latest news. We'll do a together mode picture. Hopefully it works again today. We had some hiccups last week, but it should be fine today. We'll see how it goes. And then we go to the real stars of the day. So Milan Kaur is going to talk about introducing Click to Call for teams in Azure Communication Services. This is a great way of doing B2C and B2B implementations and solutions which are taking advantage of the infrastructure, what we also use in the Microsoft Teams. So all of this is available from Azure for you to integrate within your custom solutions. And then Sudha is going to do Click to Copilot. We could actually change the title to be aligned on Click to Copilot as well, which is all about creating Copilots from SharePoint site without code. So this is something which we demonstrated in Build in the keynote, and also in a specific sessions within a Build. Build was the big conference which we had in late May. All of those recordings are available. But Sudha is going to go through what we showed in Build, what are the direction, and what this means is that you can actually create Copilots with your content in a SharePoint just by clicking 2 times in a button, which is really, really cool. So you no longer need to actually create massive extensibility to create your Copilots if it's based on files within SharePoint. You can just select the files, click Create a Copilot, and you will be good to go, which is really, really cool capability. Currently in private preview, rolling out later this year. We're going to talk about all of that timelines during Sudha's section as well. Now, quick recap on all of the assets which are available for you to take advantage. So first of all, our YouTube channel is the easiest way to stay up to date on what's happening. All of the community call recordings are there. All of the demos are getting released there. There's a lot of other stuff getting released there. More and more organizations are aligning to this one centralized channel, which is great. We have linking operations. We have open source. We have sample galleries. And all of these URLs can be found from AKMS Community Home URL. Just a reminder on that one, there is a new UX and an experience over there. It is actually really cool. So Stefan Bauer from N8D did the design, and Hugo Bernier used Hugo publishing process behind the scenes to make all of this happening. From there, you can actually really easily see the upcoming events. For example, when we go to the summer vacation, you will see that there's no Tuesday call happening as we go towards the summer vacation period. But you can easily download recurrent invites, all of that stuff from one centralized location. Now, I did mention the YouTube channel. This is already a relatively, well, almost like an old news because it happened a few weeks back, but we did rename our Microsoft 365 and Power Platform Community YouTube channel as the Microsoft Community Learning channel, just to make it more inclusive and make sure that it's not only for Microsoft 365 and Power Platform. We can also release other content there as we do, but there is content around Dynamics. There's content around other areas within the Microsoft Cloud within that channel as well. So that's AKMS Community YouTube. You want to subscribe there today, not miss out any cool content on there. Now, we do have a lot of community calls executing. We have the Tuesday community call at 8 a.m. Pacific time, except on summertime, as mentioned, as we got started. And then we have our 7 a.m. Thursday series, which is happening either Microsoft 365 and Power Platform community call or the Vivo Connection SharePoint Framework community call. So every single Thursday, 7 a.m. Pacific time. That goes through the summer as well. On top of that, we have the Power Platform and Office add-ins, monthly community calls, and there will be no breaks within those throughout the summer, so those will be executed normally. You can download all of the recurrent invites at AKMS community calls, and you can always see the agendas and plans directly from Meetup. So that is a great service to subscribe into. You will get an email updates whenever we will share the updates or agenda details for the following calls. You will get that within your inbox. A great service to sign up as well. Now, for a lot of these calls, we actually welcome our community to presentations, and this does not have to be rocket science. It doesn't have to be open source. We really want people to share their solutions, their patterns, their findings in even out-of-the-box capabilities. So if you found out a new feature, or you've been playing around with AI capabilities in Power Platform, or you've been playing Copilot Studio, Copilot Chats, and you've been figuring out, these are really good prompts, which we could actually use to increase our productivity. Well, that's a great demo. Just sign up on the forum, and we will get you scheduled within the community call on the next following slot or free slot within our agenda. We really think that learning from each other is the best way to learn. So not just Microsoft telling you the ways we are expecting you to use our product, but rather how did you actually use it? What did you learn? What are the things what you build on top of the Microsoft 365 for Power Platform? Please sign up. Great opportunity as well. Now, a good point on the chat. Hopefully everybody can access the chat. The website even shows that the current call is live. So great work by Hugo Bernier actually on that one. So there's a lot of dynamic features on that website, so you can easily then join on the calls as they're getting executed. Now, getting started on the Microsoft Cloud, we have our developer program, which has been on a pause. No updates on that one yet. I'm crossing fingers that we'll have update whenever we come back from the summer break. Right now, that is on pause. I don't have exact details when it will be more clarified, the situation, but there are alternative ways of getting you a tenant. Now, there's a small cost on that. I will come back on that one in 2 seconds. A lot of assets available at learn.microsoft.com and free modules to get started on learning on how to do Microsoft extensibility or building stuff or using stuff within the Microsoft 365 or in Power Platform or Microsoft Cloud in general. Now, coming back on the tenants, we talked about this one quite a few times in this call already. People are understandably a bit frustrated that the developer program has gone away or is on a pause. Now, you can get your own specific dedicated tenant, which will renew automatically as long as you keep on paying that for a $6 in a month. We understand that it's a cost, but right now we cannot give you a free tenant. What happened was that we had bad people actually using those free tenants in a wrong way, and that made us in a situation where we were forced to actually pause the developer program and figure out how do we identify these people rather than give people a free developer tenant only based on their emails. And that's basically what happened behind the scenes. Right now, the right workaround in the short term is to just buy a tenant for a $6 in a month, and based on how much you're willing to pay, that cost will go up. And what are you planning to use the tenant for and all of that stuff? That is $72 in a year. It's a bit of money, but it's not a massive amount of money either if you are building experiences or if you're a consultant and you're building experiences, for example, for your customers. Now, we do have a lot of shows available for Microsoft 365 Power Platform. We have our PMP Weekly, where we always have visitors and we cover the latest news and updates on the Microsoft 365 and related technologies. We have the Mondays at Microsoft with Caruana and Heather, great show as well. And then we have the Microsoft 365 Developer Podcast, which came back in build. So more content on all of those on a weekly basis. We also have our sample galleries. We kind of mentioned that already in the intros, but there's now 1,970 plus samples from Microsoft and community in there. I just had a yesterday meeting, for example, with Entra ID people. They're looking into potentially onboarding here as well, because it makes it super easy to find the relevant sample just by using search and filtering the mechanisms which are there. Please take advantage of this one as you're looking into getting started on building your experiences or extending your existing tenants. Now, as you find the sample, you might be wondering on, hey, how do I now get started? What would I need to do? Or what if I would like to share my learnings with the community and contribute? That's why we have Sharing is Caring initiative, and we have David Warner, directly from LA, to talk about what this is all about.
Yes, thank you, Vesta. We are live from Los Angeles, everybody. And what is this all about? It's about us working together to get to that 2,000 sample mark, right? Everybody wants to be that 2,000 sample provider. We want you to be too. So what is Sharing is Caring? It provides hands-on guidance. That means we will join live Teams calls together and walk everyone through a live session of doing something like a pull request in GitHub. And if you don't know what a pull request is, it's how you submit a sample. And we'll walk you through all that. We'll provide you the labyrinth and how to get through the maze of the hub of Gits and the Git of hubs and all that good stuff. So it is absolutely free. We are back. We've got another session scheduled on June 24th, which is just in a few weeks. So get signed up. It is absolutely free. It is a safe space, which means we do not record any of the sessions. So you can feel free to ask any and all questions. And yes, as Brad said in the chat, come on down. We want everybody to come in and have fun together. And you know what? You're going to meet some other like-minded, passionate individuals in that call that you might want to collaborate with. And we encourage that too. So definitely get signed up, ak.ms/sharingiscaring. Now, once you have signed up, we want to recognize you for the amazing work that you're doing. That is where our community recognition program is continuing to evolve and is alive and well. So you do need to opt in, ak.ms/community/recognition. If you already have, don't worry. Don't need to do it again annually or ever again. We will track you in wonderful ways and all the amazing work that you're doing, but we will be providing you badges for this work that you're doing. We're working on a multiverse contributor, right, which is across multiple repos, working with Hugo on the summer of samples. So it's going to be a great summer. Lots of opportunity to get involved, and we just want to show our appreciation. Powered by Credly, so these badges are official and accredited, and we absolutely thank you. One of the ways that we can thank you for the work that you're doing. So, Vesa, back to you in the Finland studios.
Excellent. Thank you, LA, for this particular update. So it's awesome what the technologies enable us to do. Now, quick recap on the events. Seattle TechCon 365 happened last week. DC is coming in August, and Dallas is coming in November. We also have our Power Platform conference coming up in September. Great opportunities of engaging with the community. Now, those are paid ones. There's a lot of other opportunities happening all around the world, which some of them are in person, some of them are hybrid, some of them are paid, some of them are free. But please go to communitydays.org. You can find the relevant events for you, where you can find in-person getting to where you can go and start networking with other people in the community. It is super important as well, and get to know other people helps us to be succeeding within our own world. That didn't make any sense, but it's okay because I'm a Finn and this is Finglish. Anyway, so moving on the quick updates on the news. Not that many news from last week, so a few updates here and there from Microsoft Teams, Viva side, SPFX or SharePoint roadmap updates, and some great news on the Power Platform area as well. David has shared the news in a chat. They will be there. They will be included also in the video notes for those who are watching the video later on and want to check into what's happening. Now, we also wanted to call out a great new opportunity with Rabia Williams and the community is the Copilot prompts. So we have started now getting community contributions around the Copilot prompts at AKMS PMP prompt library. Great opportunity for you if you find a nice prompt which will make things useful for you in the Microsoft 365 Copilot. You can share that with others and get acknowledged. And these contributions do also count for our contribution program. And just to call out, prompt of the week from Arjun Menon is a prompt which is saying, show me my meetings for this week in a table. Table should contain following details: date, time, meeting details, blah, 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 blah. RSV status is not responded, so orange. If RSV status is accepted, so green. If there are conflicts in my calendar, show those events in bold. And voila, Microsoft 365 Copilot will give you the results based on your request. A great example of the prompt and what the AI can do to make us more productive. Going back to your calendar and doing that exactly the same listing would take much more time. Now, before we go to the actual stars of the day and the demos, let's do a quick crew photo. We do have already Together mode actually moving, so we will capture a GIF animation out of this and share the GIF in the social media. We're not super pixelated. I can still recognize nice people. Fabian, Don isn't there. Milan, yeah, this is really good. Arjun is there as well. Congratulations, Arjun, and for sharing the week of prompt of the weeks. Really cool. A lot of Rachel there as well. Todd on the back row. We have 50 seats in the room. Pratt in the middle, waving hands. So I can a lot of familiar faces. 50 seats in the room. Let's wait a few more seconds before we start recording. And let me actually start the Camtasia. It's not super clear. Oh, it's getting better. We can recognize people. I can see Sari on the left side as well. So just bragging that I know all of these people by name. Now, I guess that's kind of my job as well. So let me actually get the recording moving and let's wave some hands. Oh, and funny enough, I'm recording a wrong screen. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Yes, thank you for waving hands. I need to restart. Where did the Camtasia go?
No, it's just a dress rehearsal, everybody. Dress rehearsal.
That's a dress rehearsal. 1 second. 1 second. No.
Wave rehearsal.
I think we're getting this captured. Where does my Camtasia go? 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. Now that it's working, I'm messing this up. David, help me. And screen number 3 is the right one. Yeah, I got it. Okay. And we will start in 2, 2, 1. And here we go. Let's do some hand waving, everybody. We will capture this in GIF animation and share it in social media. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Awesome to see you on a call. And there we go. Camtasia isn't messing up things. We got it. We have more than 5 seconds of feed. So that should be good. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Almost feels like we have never done this before, David, right? So,
it's new every time.
Yes. Cool. Let's then move to the actual stars of the day. So we'll have Milan starting on the Azure Communication Services, and then Sudha is continuing after her. And we're really good on a schedule. So we have 20 minutes each if needed. But Milan, I think you are good to go from your side.
All right. So my name is Milan Kaur, but I've joined from another test account. So you'll see JJ Sanchez as my name, but my name is Milan. I've done that because I need to use my MSFT account to show you a specific demo using Microsoft Teams. So before we go to the live demo, let me set some context and talk a little bit about Azure Communication Services. So Azure Communication Services is Microsoft's intelligent CPaaS, which is Communication Platform as a Service. It enables developers to add APIs into their solution for adding these communication capabilities, such as voice and video calling, chat, telephony, SMS, email, and now in WhatsApp, without thinking about the underlying infrastructure. One thing to call out here is that Azure Communication Services is built on the same infrastructure that powers Microsoft Teams, and that's why Communication Services is the only CPaaS that can interoperate with Microsoft Teams. Now, what that means is that using Azure Communication Services, developers can build solutions where they can connect non-Teams identity with Teams identity, meaning they can add programmatically customers or users who are not on Microsoft Teams, but actually are using third-party, website or app, and make them join Microsoft Teams meeting. And I think Dan Wallen has showed a couple of demos on how to do that in this weekly community call. But today we are going to talk about a new feature in the Teams interoperability space. So I just mentioned that with Azure Communication Services, you could have a customer or a user join a Microsoft Teams meeting. But in addition to that, now we have Teams Click to Call as a new feature. Now, with Teams Click to Call, developers can add users programmatically. Actually, not users. The users call programmatically to Teams call queues or call attendance. Now, what that means is that for businesses who have, third-party websites or, mobile application, they can have their customers connect with the business employees who are using Microsoft Teams with just one click. And I will show you that in action in a demo just in a few seconds. But before that, let's talk about some use cases. So where is this useful? This is very much useful in the customer service space. Now imagine there's a bank and they have their own website. And I, as a customer, I'm browsing that website. And I want to talk to a wealth advisor. On the website, there's a button which says Contact Wealth Advisor. And from there, with one click, I can connect to the wealth advisor of the bank who is using Microsoft Teams. So the value here is that when businesses have invested in Microsoft Teams and their employees are, very used to using the native Microsoft Teams experience, they can actually connect their employees with customers without having their employees leave their Microsoft Teams app or experience. Okay, so we are now going to the live demo, and this demo will use three main components from technology perspective. Is there a question or a comment, or just a mute, unmute issue?
I think it's mute, unmute issue. Please continue.
Okay. So from technical stack perspective, this demo is going to use Azure Communication Services UI library and Azure Communication Services resource in Microsoft Teams call queue. The UI library will be used for the UI component that we'll use on a third-party website. And the resource is basically a prerequisite because the audio video calling experience is being powered by communication services. So you definitely need a resource created on the Azure portal. And then Microsoft Teams call queue, because click to call connects the customers with call queues or auto attendance. And we will be using Microsoft Teams call queue for the demo. So let me come out from the PowerPoint and open the demo website. Okay. So this is a Contoso Energy Solar website, and I want to save the environment. So I'm here. I want to buy some solar panels, but buying solar panels is not as easy as buying maybe a dress or a pair of shoes. So let's imagine there's a catalog here and I'm browsing the catalog, but I'm very confused as to which one to buy. So I feel like I need to talk to a sales rep. So I click on this button, and here I enter my name, and then I do want to do a video call. So select all of this. And then I'll click on Start Call here. But before I do that, let me also bring up my Teams, because the call will come on my Teams call queue. And I've also set that to Do Not Disturb. So let me change that so that the call can come in. Okay, so now this is done. And also heads up, when I start the call and you see the Teams call come in on the agent side, I will mute myself for a few seconds to avoid the feedback frenzy, but then I'll come off mute. For this demo, I'm going to do the role play of the customer as well as the agent. So you're going to see multiple faces of me popping up on the screen. So let's click on Start Call. Sorry, it took me some time and my screen froze for a bit with all these calls coming in, but you can hear me now, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Okay, just to recap of what happened. So now I have two screens in parallel, and let me minimize this Teams call. So on the left is my agent view, and this is my Teams call, where I got the customer call in my Teams environment. So I picked up the call just like I would pick up any of other, Teams call that I will get. I'm not able to turn on the camera on the agent side because my camera is being used here. So let me see if I could turn on camera on this side. I cannot. So maybe I need to turn off the camera here and it will start working. Okay, it did. All right, so let me also turn on live captions on the customer side so that you can see the captions coming in. Okay, so the demo here is that the agent, which is on the left screen, is joined with the customer through an audio video experience. The agent should be able to share their camera or video stream as well, but right now I have one camera, so I can just share my video on the customer side. The customer can turn on the live captions as well. That's a new feature. We all know that that's available on the team side, but now on the non-teams identity, live captions can be enabled as well. And someone could select the language that they prefer. Like the conversation can happen in a particular language, but the live captions can happen in another language itself. Now, another feature that we have added is that the agent or the Teams user can do screen sharing, and the customer can view that document or that screen. So usually when we are taking agent, calls, the agents usually needs to share, a product page or a documentation. And now that Teams experience of sharing a screen can also show up on the non-Teams user side. So let me stop sharing this because it messed up my setup. Well, I think I should have chosen a recorded demo, and that would have been neat, but I think I wanted to do a live demo for the community call. But yeah, the point being that now you can share documents and do screen sharing from the team side, and the customer, who is the non-Teams entity, can see that. You could also do PowerPoint live, and that will work between the customer and the Teams experience as well. So let me stop this and stop these calls and go to the code behind for this. Okay, so I want you to take a look at this widget again, because this is the main part that I will show you in the code, how you can set this up very easily using Azure Communication Services UI library. So if you've not heard about UI library before, UI library provides prepackaged components that can be added to third-party applications, and it abstracts the underlying communication code and gives that capability out of the box through React elements and adapters. So if you search for Azure Communication Services UI library online, this is the page that will show up. And for this example, we've used Call Composite. Now, Call Composite is a React element that lets you add audio video experience into your application. So it's built on React. And then there's another thing called Call Adapter that connects the front-end elements with backend APIs. But as a developer, you don't have to worry about the backend code. The Call Adapter itself will do that magic. You just have to use that in your application. Vesa, just a quick time check. Do I have 5 more minutes?
Yes, you can do 5 more, and then we'll transition. Only 2 demos today.
All right. Okay. So now coming to the code, this is a GitHub repo which is publicly available, and I will share the link at the end. So we used Teams call queues. Now, call queues has been there for a while. So there are documentations available on how to set that up. It is mentioned in the README document as well, like how you can do that. And then Teams call queue is something that can be set only by your admin. So you'll have to reach out to your Teams admin to set that up if you want to try this feature. Now, this particular code has 2 main components, which is the front end and the back end. Back end meaning the server code. So the front end has a component called calling widget component, and that was the main thing that we saw on the website. In here, we use the call composite and call adapter, like I said, and you are importing that from the Communication Services React library. And then it's basically very simple code where you will actually write some sort of styling for your component because you want your own custom branding. So in this repo as well, I've defined some calling widget component styles. Other than that, the main part here, or the interesting part here, is setting up of the variables that are required to do the audio video call. So one is, again, the user, that is the customer, a token for that user. And then the other thing that this app will need is where to call, meaning the call queue ID. So yeah, these are the three things that will be needed. One is the user ID, which is the customer ID, and then the token to use Azure Communication Services, and then the call queue ID. So these three things are being retrieved from the server component. So in the front end, calling widget component is the key class which defines the behavior of the UI React component, and we use call adapter and call composite from the UI library to make things easier here. And then on the server side, we get the call queue ID, we get an identity token for the user and pass it back to the front end to make that call happen. The only thing that I want to call out on the server side is that when you are using this code, you will have to go to appsettings.json to update the connection strings and the call queue ID. So you will create an Azure Communication resource, update that here, and then when you'll have the call queue ID from your team's admin, you replace that here. And then this repo is ready to be deployed, so you can try this out immediately. So that was the code and the demo. I do want to call out, and I'm not going to the slideshow mode, I'll just zoom this in. So I do want to call out that click to call functionality does work with auto attendance and call queues on the team side, but it also will integrate with Microsoft Queues app. Microsoft Queues app is a newer app which basically enables Teams users to see the incoming calls to attendance and call queues in one pane, and it adds certain analytics on it, like how many calls are waiting and what is the average wait time. But if you have the Call Queues app, the incoming call that we saw in the demo would also show up here. The advantage of using Microsoft Teams Queues app is that not only does it give the analytics, but it also gives you an opportunity to connect your organization's CRM. So what that means is that when an incoming call of the customer comes in this case, like Milan was calling from the Solar website, immediately when the Teams user picks up the call, the CRM data can pop up for that customer. So the agent can see the CRM data for Milan and in parallel can attend the call from Teams native experience. With that, I am through, and these are the important links that you may be interested in. The first one is the demo code that we just saw, and the second link is a tutorial which tells you how to take the out-of-the-box call composite and call adapter that are available in UI library and convert then that to a click-to-call audio-video calling widget. So with that, I am through, Vesa.
Excellent, really, really cool stuff, and awesome how easy it is to do this using the ACS. So brilliant stuff. Thank you, Milan, on that one. Then let's transition to Sudha. We have 20 minutes if needed. And in this case, we're creating copilots, but we don't necessarily need to even do code or even low code to make these things happen. Right, Sudha?
Yes, you're right, Vesa. Let me summon my David voice. Hello, M365 community. That didn't work. Only David can do it. But I'm Sudha Narayanan. I'm a product manager at Microsoft, working on bringing every SharePoint user the ability to create and share your own custom copilots through a set of capabilities that we call Click to Copilot. Now, this is in the slides are not moving. Okay, Better. So this is in the no-code end of the spectrum, in the no-code to pro-code spectrum, which means with zero code, you'll soon be able to create custom copilots from SharePoint. This is a capability for all users in the organization and not just for developers or admins. We are creating and extending copilots that will help you and your teams be more productive, as simple as creating files or folders on SharePoint. And I squeal a little bit there because you'll see how we are doubling down on the file concept and how the permissions, etc., are managed through it, which I'm pretty excited about. Now, why SharePoint? Over 2 billion pieces of content gets added to SharePoint every single day. Organizational knowledge resides in SharePoint. With this customization, we are taking the power of M365 chat and scoping it to a specific site, document library, set of files and folders. You choose it. Now, you get a custom Copilot, which is purpose-built, and that can be used repeatedly by you and your colleagues, whether it is to help a new team member onboard to your processes, or be used as an SME for like your team processes or your product specification. You choose what's the right scenario for it. And again, that's the best part, that we put the customization into the hands of people who know how to use this information the best, and how it should be used and what's the authoritative content and all of that. Now we call this click to Copilot because creating a Copilot that is ready to consume should take you less than 90 seconds, and it's just a few clicks away. Once it's created, it's ready to be used across M365 by you and your colleagues, like I mentioned, as long as you require, and all of the content that gets updated in the grounding sources is automatically available for you in the Copilots. Now, I said this custom copilots can be used across M365, and I'm showing on the screen a couple of capabilities that's coming in this summer. On the left is what we call the switcher experience for selecting copilots on the site. Every SharePoint site will come up with this switcher, will have the switcher experience. There'll be an entry point, which will allow you to choose from a set of different copilots on the site and start interacting with it. We'll allow site owners to decide what copilots show up in this picker. There is one that is designated as the preferred, or as we call it, the default copilot. You can also choose not to have a default copilot if you want. And this is a place where people can find copilots that are created for the site, but you'll also find your own personal copilots here as well that you can interact with, that you created for yourself, just for you to be more productive. On the right side is the way that you can use this copilot on Microsoft Teams. I'll demo this. You can just grab a link and start using it on Teams. It's pretty magical. Now, to make this real, there are two paths to this, or two different ways that you can get started. One is you can start using a Copilot that comes out of the box for every single SharePoint site. Or you can choose to create your own custom Copilot from scratch using the content that you select. Now, there are certain commonalities between the two. Of course, all of it, both of it can be customized, and of course, we're going to respect whatever permission settings you have. We will never show anything that a user is not supposed to see. So permissions taken care of can always be customized. Like I mentioned, the out-of-the-box Copilot can be edited by the site owners, and they have control over what shows up as default and all of that. Now, the custom Copilot that you create is the one that you can share on Teams, on email with your colleagues, and start collaborating. So a couple of different differences there, but a lot of commonalities as well. Now let's get started with the demo, and I'm going to start with the out-of-the-box Copilot. And what you can do is you can access this on every SharePoint site, and by clicking the Copilot icon in the nav bar, you can start editing it. Oh, demo, sorry. Let me switch my screen. There you are. So you can start editing it. So I'm in the site Copilot and click on edit. Now I can simply call it delivery drone. I can change the sources I want. This is for the entire site. I'll leave it be for now. I can add different welcome messages. For example, how do I boost my sales with delivery drone? I can update the starter prompts. A cool thing that you'll see here, oh, sorry, not there. Yeah, let me do it here. A cool thing that you'll see here is every change that you make here is instantly available for you to test out in this preview. And I can ask that. I can do something like, what is a delivery drone? Or I could do like, how much does delivery drone cost? Hit send. And it's not just a static preview, it's a preview that works, and it'll give you the answers as well. So I'll show you how that works. There you go. It gives you a flat fee of $5 per order. Pretty cheap for the delivery drone. But yeah, so I can do that, hit save. Now this Copilot, the site level Copilot, which I renamed to delivery drone, should be available for me under the Copilot tab. Like I mentioned, it's available, it opens up for you. This is the picker that I was mentioning, which lists all the Copilots on the site. So there are a couple, the one that I just created. There is also a Copilot called Brainstorm Copilot, and this is your personal Copilot. So you can choose which one you want to interact with. And this is also what we'll provide to the site owners to customize. Now let me go back. This is the first part of the demo where you can edit the Copilot that's provided out of the box for you. Let me go back to the presentation and show you a couple of different things. Yeah, so as I mentioned, site owners will have some power in terms of what Copilots should show up in that switcher, the picker experience, and what should be set as default. You can choose not to have defaults at all. And yeah, basically, a little bit more control in terms of that experience at the site level through this site setting panel, which is available on every site, of course, and all of your settings stay there. But you'll have a new option in there which speaks about site Copilot settings, and that's where you can manage these from. Now, let's go into creating a new Copilot from scratch. So I'm going to switch back to my demo. Go back into that delivery drone launch site, go into the documents, maybe comms, select a couple of different Copilots, a couple of different files there. Maybe don't select a Copilot file to create another Copilot. And this is that one click that we keep mentioning about. So this is that click. And there you have it. You literally have a Copilot. You don't have to edit anything. You can just try it. But I'm going to go ahead and edit it and say, change this, maybe add like a icon, something to capture this. And all of this is the sources. You can continue to add multiple document libraries from the same site. You can choose to add different sites as well, which is, for me, the cool part. So you can choose to have another site that you want to create this from. Let me see if there is another site in this demo, in the demos tenant. There must be a site called test, right? There isn't. Anyway, trust me when I say that you can add other sites. You can select sites if there is, and we'll ensure the permissions are taken care of in terms of who can access content from that site and so on. I'll call your attention to this button, which is what we're going to talk about next, which is you can add more customizations to this Copilot. This is not it, but you can add more customizations to this Copilot. So I'm going to save this. And this should now be available in the picker. Of course, this shows up, it pops up as soon as you create it. And there you go. There is a file that's created, which is an exciting part, which means everything that applies to a file applies to this Copilot as well. If I go back to the site, this should be available in the picker for me. It might take a couple of seconds, but there you go. Yeah, this is available for me in the picker. This will be available to any user who has permissions to view that file that you just created, would be able to see this Copilot and use it on Teams, use it on SharePoint as well. We'll talk a little bit more about Teams. So switching back to my slide, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that button that I showed you. Now, we understand that not all your content might reside in SharePoint. So to allow you to harness the full power of custom copilots and extending it to other sources is going to be super simple with our integration with Copilot Studio. Now, the Copilot Studio allows you to connect your existing sources outside of SharePoint through 1,000+ pre-built data connectors, but it doesn't end with just asking questions and getting responses. You can do more by creating actions, adding powerful actions like sending emails, updating system records, or one of the many, many more actions that you'll find in Power Platform. In addition to this, you can, of course, use it on SharePoint and Teams, and I'll show you how you can use it on Teams, but you can also publish it more broadly so that users can discover it as an app across M365. So to speak about all of this, there is a video that I want to roll. I don't have a demo for you on this, but there is a video that I want to roll and
It's not just Microsoft Copilot that can be extended with Copilot Studio. Let's look at another example of how you can extend a Copilot within SharePoint. This SharePoint site has all the event details for a major event, ReliCon 2024. The attendees can quickly get information from the Copilot. However, employees looking for food vendor information couldn't get answers from the Copilot due to the information not being available on SharePoint. To fix it, the Copilot can easily be customized via Copilot Studio to connect to external sources. With a simple click, the user is now able to continue editing their Copilot in Copilot Studio's full authoring experience. ReliCon's catering vendor information is available as records in Dataverse. From Copilot Studio, it can easily be added as additional knowledge sources. And to give attendees even more menu details, they can also add the catering vendor's public website as another knowledge source. This way, the Copilot can answer any additional meal questions from the attendees. Providing information is great, but the Copilot can take it further by allowing attendees to submit their meal choices ahead of the event. This can be easily done by adding an action in Copilot Studio. In this case, the action updates employees' meal choice as part of the attendee records in Dataverse. There you have it. Now the Copilot will take the action automatically without needing additional configuration. When they're satisfied with the Copilot's additional capabilities, they can easily publish their changes to become available on the ReliCon 2024 SharePoint site. Now employees can get all the event information they need when they chat with the ReliCon 2024 Copilot in SharePoint. With the enhancement from Copilot Studio, they can easily get catering vendor info and ask follow-up questions on the meal menu from sources outside of SharePoint. When they're ready, the Copilot can use actions to collect their meal choice conversationally before attending ReliCon 2024. With Microsoft Copilot Studio, the options to extend are limitless. You can extend Copilot for Sales, Copilot for Service, Copilot for Insights, Viva, Copilot in Power Apps, Copilot for Finance, and more.
There you go. So the thing I love about that, apart from being a great sizzle video, is that how it seamlessly transfers from being no-code to low-code and eventually into pro-code. So we're set up for that. And I love that transition. I think it's one of the cool things that happens and a very nicely built out product experience, if I may say so myself. So that's the extending through the Copilot Studio. Now let's use it on Teams. So we created we created a Copilot. Let me go back to my demo. It was in the Documents folder. I can try and start using that comms Copilot itself. I told you this is a file, which means you can actually copy this and share it on Teams. There you go. So what you can do is start using this. And let me, for example, I copied the link. Let me do that one more time, just in case. And what happens is that nicely unfolds, and you can now add this Copilot into your Teams chat, and this gets added as a bot as a person into this group chat, and you can do what you would do with a person. You can mention it, talk to the Copilot, get your answers. I don't have demos for that yet, but that's a capability that's coming soon into previews this summer. And we'd love for you to join us for the previews, give us feedback. There is a way to register for the private preview, and you can use this QR code or the link to join us for the private preview this summer. But these are all very exciting capabilities that is being built, and there'll be a lot more coming into Copilots later this summer as well as into this year. We are excited for you to try it out and give us feedback on what you think, and we are excited to see how you use it in your organization. Thank you.
Excellent, really, really cool stuff. Thank you, Sudha, for this one. Awesome stuff. One question which I have to ask, because that was good on the chat. Do we already know that will all of the end users need to have the Copilot license to be able to use the Copilot chat? Or is that been decided already?
Not yet. So we are still working through the permissions and the SKUs, the entire model of who would need what, like what would you need to create, what would you need to share, but there should be more details of that coming in this month and the next, and we'll make it public as soon as we have it.
Yep, absolutely. That's a good recap. And just a reminder for everybody, this is preview stuff. So we showed it first time in build. It's not yet available, even with money. So we're building on these things. Private preview URL was shared in the chat. Thank you, David, on that one. And those are those people who sign up for the private preview and will get selected. They can access this information first at some point. So one step at a time. So I know that there's a lot of excitement, a lot of questions. A lot of those questions will be addressed as we get closer on public preview. Cool. Thank you, Milan. Thank you, Sudha. Really, really awesome demos today. Right on schedule. This is brilliant. Next week, we're going to actually continue pretty much on the same topics. So next Tuesday at the 18th of June, Milan is coming back on extending Copilot with Azure Communication Services. So Copilot with Azure Communication Services. That's a really, really interesting scenario as well. And then Luca, Liana, and Logan are going to actually talk about using SPFX to create extensibility for Copilot. And that's a really, really cool capability as well. So rather than just writing always text for the operations in the Copilot, you can actually expose buttons and actions and all of that using SPFX. So really, really cool capabilities there as well. Now, that's on 18th of June, so next Tuesday. So, and a reminder, that's the second of the last call before we go to the summer break. So in July and August, we will have a break on this Tuesday call. Now, in the meanwhile, as we're waiting for the other next calls to happen or outside of the calls, you can always join our Discord server. We have more than 2,100 members already in here, actively helping each other and having discussions with the other community members. So AKMS Community Discord, easiest way to sign up in there. We also are always looking for feedback related on this call. So your feedback is super, super valuable. So we're able to continue having these calls. So please, if you have a few minutes, sign up and write and feedback and input within the form. That does not take long, but has a big impact on continuing, for enabling us to continue doing these calls also in the future. But recapping things, the recording of this call will be available within 24 hours at Microsoft Community Learning YouTube channel at AKMS Community YouTube is the URL. Subscribe there today, so you're able to actually access that immediately when it's available. Now I can hear some noises from somebody, which I will mute, so that will help on that one. And then follow us on Twitter, easiest way to stay up to date also on announcements. Next call on next Tuesday, 18th. This week we also have the Thursday call coming up. And the Thursday call keeps on going throughout the summer. So if you download any of those invites, they will be updated up to date. All of the calls at AKMS Community Calls, and that's it for today. Thank you everybody for joining. Have a great rest of the week. We'll hopefully see you in the community areas. And thank you, Milan and Sudha, one more time for the great demos. Thanks everybody. Let's stay in touch. Bye-bye.